At Chapter 8 of the Royal Commissioner's report, it reads, Sex workers. The Commissioner heard from the Sex Industry Network Incorporated, SIN, that people who work in the sex industry and who are experiencing domestic, family and sexual violence often feel dehumanised and judged when seeking support. This is particularly problematic in jurisdictions such as South Australia, where sex work is still criminalised. The push to decriminalise sex work has a long history in South Australia, failing to achieve a majority support in the South Australian Parliament, despite the introduction of multiple bills over the years to do so. The Commission recognises that sex work has been decriminalised in other jurisdictions, and the resulting stigma that is attached to sex work creates barriers reporting violence in the sex industry. The observation in Chapter 8 is accompanied and in the section where the Commissioner urges further law reform in a number of areas. I note that the Northern Territory, Queensland, Victoria and New South Wales have all moved to decriminalise sex works in those jurisdictions, and it is indeed a measure that removes not just stigma but violence in the lives of those workers. Is the Attorney-General aware of these concerns, that criminalising people makes them more vulnerable to criminals and to violence, and what options will the Malinauskas government take to ensure that we provide not just a safe workplace but a safer domestic lives for these South Australians?
The Attorney-General.
Thank you, sir, and I thank the honourable member for her question and acknowledge the great deal of work she has done on this topic over many years. The area of the Royal Commissioner's report that the honourable member refers to is page 644. And the honourable member somewhat modestly missed a part of what she read out that recognises that the honourable member herself has done and the legislation she has put forward. So I might actually read that out, seeing the honourable member somehow forgot to mention that part. The Royal Commission notes that the most recent bill, the Statutes Amendment Decriminalisation Sex Work Bill 2025, was introduced to the South Australian Parliament on the 2nd of April 2025 by the Honourable Tammy Franks, and it goes on to give a couple of quotes from the honourable member in relation to that particular bill. So I think a great deal of satisfaction should be taken by the fact that the Royal Commission report specifically acknowledges the Honourable Tammy Franks' work in this area. And of course, the last quote that the honourable member read out is worth repeating. On page 644 of the Royal Commission report, the Commission recognises that sex work has been decriminalised in other jurisdictions, and that criminalisation and the resulting stigma that's attached to sex work creates barriers to reporting violence in the sex industry. And I think that is a powerful statement that if we are tackling violence and sexual violence, domestic violence and family violence, it needs to be reported. And if there are barriers to it being reported, that is something that needs to be looked at and deserves to be addressed. My views on these issues are very well known, and they're very, very similar to the Honourable Tammy Franks' views and a number of others in this chamber who have voted previously when bills have come forward that have been conscience votes for the major parties. I am sure that we will see further legislation, as we've seen some that touch on this area in this term of Parliament, in the next term of Parliament, and I am hopeful that we will see reform in this area in the not too distant future. It's not just for the reasons that are outlined in the Royal Commission's report that creates barriers to reporting, which of course then makes it much more difficult to address that sort of violence, but it is, as the honourable member mentioned briefly, it's safety at work, the basic premise that you deserve to have a regulated work environment that provides a safe working environment. This work occurs. It is going to occur. It always has. It always will. Not providing a safe work environment means that the usual protections that we have through our industrial system don't always apply in the same manner. So again, I thank the honourable member for the work that she has done, probably more so than any other member of this chamber in attempts to reform this area. It should be the honourable member should take be proud that it has been specifically recognised in this report, and I am certain that in the next Parliament it will be taken up by others as well.